Hello everybody, welcome and or welcome back to my channel. This video is going to be a very realistic reading week in my life, or just, I guess, reading vlog, because I don't really have a set timeline for what this vlog is going to look like, but I just really wanted to pick up the camera because I would be lying if I said I wasn't experiencing some type of burnout in my life right now, and this creative outlet of filming and editing and reading really helps me with just keeping myself grounded and staying in tune with my hobbies and everything. Right now I'm feeling a lot of burnout from just how much work I'm doing. I'm also planning a wedding. We're like 2 months out, which is very crazy chaotic, but it is fun. It's just a lot. So with that, I really haven't had the time to set aside for reading and doing all of my other like bookish hobbies that really bring me so much joy and fill my cup. And I was thinking about it and I was like, you know, I have been filming a lot more consistently this last year, and what's really helped me like pick up my books and motivate me more to read is when I am filming. So I just wanted to pick up this camera for however long, because I feel myself kind of going back into that rut of not necessarily like maybe a reading slump, but mostly just kind of like a life slump. It's not that serious, but like a life slump where I'm just so tired at the end of the day that I don't really feel motivated or determined to pick up a book. But it's good for me, it's good for my mental health, and I just really want to do this and I really enjoy doing it. So that's gonna be what this week is. This week is actually so crazy though, so like we'll see how much reading I get done, but I'm hoping that, you know, having you guys follow along with me will be really helpful, and I can like talk through my days, bring you guys along for all the fun things, and then we can stay up to date on what I'm reading and how much reading I get done. I think this will also be another good video to kind of tie into my physical TBR takedown, because if you did not know, I did start a series of that on this channel where I am trying and attempting to read every single book on my physical TBR. The caveat is that I cannot buy any books unless they are new releases that were highly anticipated by myself, which some have been released and I just haven't purchased them. I haven't purchased a book since mid-January. It's now mid-April and I am very proud of that. I feel like mentally just, I know that if I do buy a new release, that's going to be the next book that I pick up, and I really am so close to finishing my physical TBR. You can't see it right now, but it's up there. I have like 10 books and I'm in the middle of reading one right now, and I just know that I can dwindle it down to at least like 2 or 3, because I don't think I need to maybe completely finish it, because there are some books where I'm like, okay, I think I would enjoy this more like during the fall time or like later in the summer. So I'm just really trying to dwindle that down more and more, and I think this will be another good video just to kind of catch you guys up on what I've been reading, what I'm currently reading, and what that progress is like. I did have more books on my physical TBR, and I mentioned this in my last YouTube video, but I took a few, I think like 4 off, and I will be donating them to a free little library, because I just was having a moment where I was like, I don't think I'm going to enjoy these books. They've been on my TBR for a really long time, and I really want to just be able to offer them to other people that will hopefully like them more than I think I will. They're just not books that I think are a part of my taste anymore, or books that, you know, are kind of worth my time right now. So I've decided to unhaul those books, and so we did dwindle it down a little bit faster than I was anticipating, but I think it was a good move on my end. Now for a little current update, it is Tuesday afternoon. I have to head to a hair appointment in a moment, but I thought I'd update you guys on what my current read is. I am currently reading The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. I'm about 68% of the way through this book, and I am absolutely obsessed. It's been taking me, again, because I'm in kind of like that slump era, you know. The first day that I picked it up though, I devoured the first 200 pages. I'm now on page 324. I'm in the middle of chapter 27, and every time I do pick it up, I am binging it, absolutely loving it. I think Kristen Hanna's writing is just so, I don't even know how to describe it other than like just consumable and addicting, and the way that she writes her female characters and their relationships together, I think a lot of people that read her books just kind of understand. It is, to me at least, very unique. Like I feel like every female character that she writes has a lot of depth to them, and then that depth adds to like the relationship that they have with other female main characters within the book and the story, and it's all so relatable, even though I don't relate to anything that's happening in this book, because it is about the Dust Bowl and this family having hard times in Oklahoma and having to migrate to the West and then being discriminated against there. I don't relate to any of that, but just the relationship between the mother and the daughter and the mother's mother and like all of those different dynamics. There are just so many like emotions that they are feeling that you're like, wow, yeah, like it's just like relatable in that sense. So she does an incredible job with that. I am so enjoying this, but again, I haven't had that much time to read it, so I'm really hoping to finish this up at some point this week, hopefully by the weekend. I did find that on Libby the audiobook was available, so I did download it, and I've been listening to like a chapter here and there. I just got back from being home for the weekend, and so when I was home I wasn't reading a lot, but I was listening to an audiobook. It's a new book that was just released. I had a credit on Audible, so I downloaded it. It's called The Story Might Save Your Life. I ended up rating it a 4 stars. It's by Tiffany Crum, and I highly recommend the audiobook. I don't know if I would have enjoyed it as much actually if I read a physical copy, just because the ending kind of lost me around like the 80% mark. It just kind of, to be honest, I don't really know if the book knows what genre it was, because it felt like a mystery thriller, but then also like a romance and just kind of a fiction novel. But I mean, that first 80%, I was very much addicted to it. I listened to it the entire plane ride home, the entire plane ride back. I was constantly turning it on because it was like such a, I guess, a page turner, even though I was listening to it. But essentially these people are a part of a podcast and they were best friends, and it's a girl named Joy and a guy named Benny, and they were best friends, but then they ended up marrying other people, and then Joy and her husband go missing, and Benny has to like figure out what happened to them, and you go back and forth in time because you're referencing a memoir from Joy's point of view that they wrote together, but you only get Joy's point of view of the memoir, and that's going back in time to like how her and Benny met and what their dynamic is, and you know, you learn more about the other people that are involved in their life. But Benny and Joy again have a podcast, and I think what made the audiobook so good is that you get to like hear them act out the podcast essentially, like when they reference it. And I don't think I would have gotten that same experience if I were to read the book myself. And so it felt like I was actually listening to a podcast, and I just really liked it. So recommend that book too. But that's what I was listening for the most part this last weekend, and why I didn't really pick up The Four Winds a ton, because when I'm on planes, it's really hard for me to like read a physical book unless it's like a Kindle, which even then I just get like so sleepy on planes and I just need to like kind of sit and disassociate. So audiobooks are like the move for me, and that's what I was listening to. And now I'm getting more into The Four Winds this week. I will say I have a very chaotic work week. Like I said, I'm kind of getting into the throes of a burnout, and I think work is like my number one burnout factor right now. And so I'm trying to like not let that happen. But later today, after I get my hair done, I'm gonna read and I'm going to decompress and make sure that doesn't happen. But I'll keep you guys updated on what we end up doing. I almost just seriously ate shit in front of my entire neighborhood, but new hair. Okay, didn't want to completely dox myself there, but we just freshened up the edges and then went like a tad bit darker, which is what I have been doing, but I like it. Time to have dinner. I need to write one more email for work, talk about burnout, and then read. Hey, it's a little bit later and I just read about 3 chapters of The Four Winds. I'm getting kind of tired, so I think I'm gonna start listening to some of it now. I'm about a little over 75% of the way through. So I'm gonna listen to it while I get ready for bed. And then I think tomorrow's gonna be a big listening day for me. Like I said, I have a really long day at work tomorrow, and then afterwards we have like a team outing, and so I won't be home until later. But on my drive there and back, I'm gonna listen to The Four Winds, and then whatever time I have tomorrow evening, I'll pick it up and continue reading it. But yeah, that's kind of like what my days are going to look like, at least during the work week, is that it's very long work days. Obviously not like filming that because I'm working and then catching up on literally everything when I get home, whether that's like wedding stuff, working out, literally eating dinner, or reading. But that is just life right now. So it's busy. We are having as good of a time as we can. This lighting absolutely just like is a nightmare. But we are back home. I listened to a few chapters of The Four Winds during my commute, and then I just finished up reading physically another chapter. I'm so close to being done. I didn't realize how close I was to finishing. I think I have like 40 pages left, but I had like a massive headache. Realized it's probably because I haven't eaten too much today. I literally started work at 7. And then I did not get home until 7. So it was a full 12 hours of work and then going and hanging out with my coworkers after the work day. So I was like decompressing from that, realized I hadn't really eaten a lot, ate, and now my headache, I feel so much better. I was like kind of down bad for a hot minute there. I'm going to curl my hair so that I don't have to do it tomorrow. And then while I curl my hair, I'm going to listen to the audiobook, and I'm really going to try to finish it. Per the audiobook, I have less than 2 hours of listening left, but I can typically like read from the book faster than like listening to the audiobook. So I think I'll be able to finish it tonight. It's just about 9 o'clock. So let's get that going. Let's finish this book tonight. Did not take long at all. It's literally been like 20 minutes since I finished curling my hair, and I have finished The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. I did not get emotional like I thought I would, but I am like feeling the emotions, if that makes sense. This book, and I think what I just keep reiterating every time I read a Kristen Hanna book, is that it just hits home so hard when it comes to women and women's relationships and just how women-centered her books are, and I just love it so much. Like even one of the last lines in the book that is not a spoiler, but it just says, "She taught me to stand up and find my woman's voice even in this man's world." And that is such a big theme in this book, is just being a woman during this time, because throughout literally eternity, throughout literally to this day, from the beginning of time to this day, women just are always discriminated against, always looked over. It is a man's world, and it should not be. It is like a woman's world through and through. I just love it. I love how feminist it is. I love the messaging in all of her stories, but this one specifically, it was so crazy actually how very close to home it hits even now. Like I think history just always repeats itself in different ways, and this definitely is so it's a story, like I said earlier, about the Dust Bowl and women during this time and what women and families specifically had to go through and all the tragedies they had to go through for the people that were living in the areas in the states that were affected the most by the Dust Bowl right after the Great Depression. And so you just see so much discrimination, especially against women during this time, because again, it's like during the 30s, and so women were still, literally even to this day, but women especially back then, it was just like, yeah, no, whatever, like They worked in the fields, they put in the work, they did the hard labor, and they were still looked down upon. And we're not allowed to use their voices for anything. We're not allowed to go to college. Like, I mean, just you guys, yeah, hopefully you know. It felt very relevant even to today, and there's a talk and show of going on strikes and protesting, and it's just sadly very relevant to our world today. So I very much enjoyed this. I think I'm gonna rate it a 4.25. It's not my favorite Kristen Hanna book, not my least favorite either, but I very much enjoyed it and highly recommend to anybody, especially if you're already a fan of hers and you haven't read it yet. This was such a good read. I think it's gonna be hard for me to pick another book after this, because if you don't know her writing, it's just so addicting and so fast paced and so easy to consume that it's kind of hard to like read books after Kristen Hanna books, because it's such a vivid picture. She's like writing a movie whenever she writes her books, and so I'm just like watching a movie in my head every time I read anything by her, which is so fun, and like it fully immerses me into the book. So I'm gonna have a hard time picking what my next read is, I think, because I am scared that it's gonna put me into a slump. I don't know. We'll pick our next read in a moment. Hello, it is later in the day. It's 11 a.m. and I am on my way from a meeting to another office meeting that I have, and it's gonna be another long work day, but I am very happy about the fact that I finished the 4 wins last night. I really genuinely thought it was going to take me much longer into the week to finish, so that was really exciting. However, I am thinking, and I have been thinking all morning, about what book I want to read next, and this is truly the most difficult part about this challenge, is that I am feeling not so inspired to read pretty much any of the books that are left on my physical TBR. I have about 10, and some of them I do want to save for like the summertime. I feel like I'm very much a mood reader in the sense that like I definitely want to read books that feel very fitting to the seasons in my life and the weather that's occurring outside. So TBD on that, we'll see. I don't really know what my next step is moving forward. I did apply for some books on NetGalley, and that's so hit or miss for me. I haven't gotten any in a really long time, which is so sad. So fingers crossed there, but it always happens that like I get new books and then all of a sudden NetGalley sends me like 2 books and it's like, like I have so many now. But we'll see. Maybe I'll post something on Instagram, like a poll for what books everyone else, like what book I should pick up next, if anyone else is like highly recommending something that is sitting on my TBR. But a lot of them are kind of like heavier reads or really long reads, and I just don't feel like I'm in the mind space for that right now. I feel like I need to have almost like a lighter read or something that's not going to take me, like a fantasy book. I really want to read Legendborn, but I don't think I'm in the headspace, at least like for the next couple of weeks, to dive into a new world of fantasy just quite yet. So that's where I'm at, but I will see you guys after work. Promptly finished work and headed straight to my hot mat Pilates class, which actually kicked my ass today. But I have a crazy update. I think I'm gonna buy a book. I'll explain more later, but I think I'm gonna fail the physical TBR takedown, and I think I'm gonna buy a book. But I'll bring you guys along because I put a poll on my Instagram story for which of the 2 books you guys on Instagram thought that I should read if I'm going to break the span, and I put Into the Blue and Shield of Sparrows because I've been thinking about those 2 books for a while now, and I know that Shield of Sparrows just had the sequel be released, and so I feel like in a way it's new because it's a newer series, I guess, and Into the Blue was a new release and I have had my eye on it for quite a while now. So I don't know, I'll explain more later, but I think I'm going to buy a book. to Barnes. I have a few books in mind, specifically Into the Blue by Emma Brody, but we'll see if it's even here because I actually don't know if it's independently published or not. I can't remember. And then I have like a list of like 20 other books that I want, so whatever I'm in the mood for. I think I'm really just gonna go full in and break the book buying ban because I don't want to read anything else right now. So. For a haul! I got a red bag of books bag. They actually had the new coral color bag, which was fine, but when you compare it to like the red bag and the green bag, I wanted the red bag. So I got a red tote bag, which was so exciting, and there is a theme to each book that I got unintentionally. So I did get Into the Blue by Emma Brody, and as you can tell, there is blue, purple, pink going on here. Also, I didn't know this was hardcover. I feel like whenever I saw people post it, I thought it was a paperback, so that's fine. I am a little mad that Reese's Book Club is on here, but I'll just get over it. And then the next book that I got is Betty by Tiffany McDaniel. I saw a couple people post about this, and the back is very intriguing to me. It is about a girl named Betty. She's born in the 50s, and then she becomes a writer and has some, I guess, trivial moments in her life. Again, we got the blues and the purples and the pinks, so can you imagine what color the next book is? I also got the Raven Scholar, which is purple, and I've seen so many people post about it, and I'm honestly like the most intrigued by this book just because of how it feels and looks, because it is really like big and thick and floppy, but also when I read the synopsis of the book, I am interested to read it. It's like a fantasy type book, so okay, that's it. I'm back home, and like I was mentioning, went to Barnes & Noble, got my 3 books, and got the bag, which I had no idea that I was up for the bag. What do you have to do to get the bag? Do you have to like earn a certain amount of points, like on your Barnes & Noble like premium membership or something? I actually have no idea, but I was very excited about it because I have the blue one, which I do like the blue one, but I think that's like when I got it, it was the only one they had available, or it was like the only one that they had at the time, because I feel like within even the last year at Barnes & Noble, now they have like the green, the blue, the red, and now the coral, and then I think they had another like a purple or something, so I don't know, that's my whole spiel there. But I'm very excited about the 3 books that I got. They were all books that I've been eyeing for a very long time, that I've had on my want to read list, and so this is actually, I think this is exactly what the doctor prescribed, was to go get new books, because now I feel very motivated and inspired to read these books, and then I think I'm going to continue to motivate myself by filtering in some of these other books that I have on my physical TBR in between reading these ones, just to keep the flow going, because like I've said, it's not like I'm picking up books on my physical TBR and not liking them. It's just like I think it's just a mental block, and I think I've mentioned this in past videos. I think it's like this mental block that because they've been sitting on my TBR for so long and I've just been looking at them, they've almost like lost their spark in that sense. So maybe I should like put them this is crazy. Maybe I should put them in like a closet and like not look at them for a month, and then like go to the closet and like pick one out. Is that a good idea? That's crazy. That's so stupid. I just need to read the book. But another update that I don't know, sorry, I feel like I have in and out in my teeth. Another update that I don't know if I ever verbally mentioned last night, but I did show a few clips of, is I am starting Mockingjay, because this was one of the physical books that I had on my TBR. I read Mockingjay in middle school, so it's technically a reread, but I wanted to reread the entire trilogy in my adult years because it's just like one of my favorite like books and movie adaptations of like all time, and so I was like, I need to reread this with an adult mindset, and so I thrifted all 3 of the books, and I'm now on Mockingjay. However, I couldn't find Mockingjay in a paperback. I found the other ones in paperbacks, and I don't like necessarily mind it, but I kind of have been craving to just like take my Kindle on the go with me lately. So I found it on Libby, and there was a copy of the Mockingjay available on Libby, and so I downloaded that. So I am in the middle of reading that. I'm only like 2 or 3 chapters in, so I'm really not like that far in, but the Hunger Games series, like, it's such an easy and like fast and entertaining read, so I anticipate that I will get through that quickly. However, I will be starting also Into the Blue out of the 3 books that I bought today, just because this is the one that has been recommended to me the most and the one that I'm most intrigued in, and I don't want to have too high of hopes going into it, and so I feel like reading it now before it absolutely blows up will be my best bet, because I think it was released this month. It was released like a couple weeks ago, but I saw so many people on Booksta post like them and their reactions to their ARC read of it. So jealous that people got this as an ARC, because I think I was denied like every single time that I asked for it, which is okay, but I have it now and I'm very interested. I don't really know too much about it. I'm pretty sure it's about actors. I think it's supposed to be a love story, but really I have seen people cry over this book, which that's fine. I'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, but this is my next book. I am very excited to read it. Taste test. We went to a new coffee shop this morning and I got the raspberry Danish latte. It's like their special for the month, I think. And they give it to you in these cool, cute little jars, and then you can bring them back. And I think every time you bring them back, you get a little bit of a discount, but on Earth Day, they're doing double the discount for anyone who brings it in. So, holy shit. That's really good. Yeah, it's like raspberry and then just a latte, and then the cold foam on top is cream cheese cold foam, and that's actually insane. That's really good. You're gonna have to try it. Okay, we are home. We had a few outings that we went out to this morning. You guys saw we were at a car show. That was our big outing, and then I wanted to go and grab a few new pieces for work, just because the weather's getting like warmer now, and I feel like it's gross to have the same like tops for so long, especially because I wear them 5 days a week and I sweat. So we went to Nordstrom's Rack. We also went to Old Navy, but I didn't find anything there. But at Nordstrom's Rack, I found this really pretty like tank top, business casual top that I can also wear like a jacket on, or it's also appropriate if it's really hot out one day and I don't wear a jacket. And then I wanted to get a dress, but none of the dresses were really what I was looking for. However, I did find this skirt that I feel like I can wear inside and outside of work. It is just like this pretty butter yellow, and it kind of like folds up at the bottom, if you can see. Super pretty, and I feel like I can wear that just on a really hot day of work. And then this is not really like a summer top because it's pretty thick, but I just thought this was a steal that I couldn't let go of. It's an extra large. It was the only one that they had, but I feel like it's a really good like oversized kind of sweater top, and I just think the cut of it is so cute. I could wear it in the summer if it's like not too hot with just like a tank top underneath, and I feel like that's just another staple top that I can have inside and outside of work. So those were my 3 purchases. And oh, I gotta sit down. So now it's like 1:30. I think I'm gonna read a little bit of Into the Blue. I started it last night and got about like 45 pages into it, and I really am liking it so far. We're just following our 2 main characters from the time that they meet in the year 2000, and I don't know, we're just kind of following how they become friends. We have AJ, who is our female main character, and then we also have Noah, who is our male main character, and they meet at work. They work at a like video store, and they are both interested in acting. Noah comes from a famous family that has like actors and actresses, and they're very well known in the town, and then AJ is just an aspiring like writer slash actress, so to speak, but she comes from a very like crazy wild family, and all of her family members are very much more sociably liked than she is. She's very much more like an introvert, keeps to herself, and seemingly has lower self-esteem, but her and Noah are hitting it off as besties now, and I think they're finding that they actually have a lot more in common than what the outside kind of perceives of them. So I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm going to keep reading that. And then actually tonight I do have like a work event and it's Oscar themed. So I have to get like dressed up for it. Probably won't read a ton tonight. And then just for the sake of like this video being a bajillion minutes long, I think tomorrow we have a pretty relaxing day and I'm just going to try to get as much reading done as possible. I'll update you guys on where I'm at with reading and then I'll probably wrap it up from there. That's what we're going to get up to now. Check. Wore this dress to a wedding like 2 years ago and kept it. Got little like sandal heels, leather coat, leather purse. Let's go party with the coworkers. Happy Sunday. Let's have some real talk for just a quick second. It is now 3 o'clock on a Sunday and we had a whole morning. We honestly just planned out our honeymoon because it's coming up, and so we needed to kind of have an idea of what our itinerary is going to be. So we did that this morning. I had to buy a bunch of gifts for upcoming like birthdays and anniversaries and stuff like that, and then we went on a walk just because I've been having really intense anxiety recently, probably for the last couple of weeks, and it's just very much sitting in my chest right now. And so I got outside, walked a couple of miles, and I do plan on reading, but I will say I just feel very not like the best just mentally right now. Not in a scary way. I just am working through this anxious period in my life and trying to like still do the things that I need and want to do and work through it. So if this vlog feels weird or patchy, I am trying. I'm just like forgetting to even film or even read at this point because I haven't even been reading as much as I've wanted to. I am at page 75 and Into the Blue, and I am really enjoying it. I'm so excited to get further into it, and I'm really happy that I did go out of my way to purchase it because I think this is actually going to be like one of my favorite reads of the year, and I know that is like so much to say so early on into the book and I guess into the year. We're in month 4, but you know, you never know. So yeah, that's just kind of where I'm at in my headspace right now. If you guys deal with anxiety, you know. If you know, you know. But I'm feeling all the feelings, especially today, and I don't know why. I think maybe it's a heightened kind of sense of Sunday scaries also, but I don't know. There's just a lot going on in my life and here, so I'm working through that. It's gonna be okay. But if this feels distant or patchy, that's why. But let's actually finally get into reading now. Oh my gosh. So you guys can't tell, but it's been an entire week since the last time I filmed something, maybe like 6 days. But I was pretty much just gonna finish reading Into the Blue without having any additional clips because I wasn't really doing anything else throughout the week other than working, and that's kind of boring. So I was like, okay, I'll just finish up, I'll wrap up Into the Blue, and then I'll give like my thoughts and then end the video. And then I got annihilated with the worst illness. I fell victim to the like bubonic plague and fell as ill as a Victorian child, and I'm still sick. Like, I still honestly feel like dog shit, but I finished Into the Blue on Thursday. It's now Saturday. Last time I filmed was on Sunday, and I'm like, you know what, I need to edit this video. I'm feeling good enough to look at a computer screen for long enough to edit this video, and I also should give my thoughts on Into the Blue. I was going to this morning, But rewind to this morning, I literally had no voice. This was not sinusy or nasally until this morning. I had other symptoms throughout the week. Now it's genuinely just like hitting me from every single angle. So I apologize for the nasally voice that I have. I promise I really truly wish I didn't sound like this right now, but this is just what we're gonna deal with. I'll keep it short and sweet. I finished Into the Blue, like I said, on Thursday, and I ended up rating it a 4.5 stars. I know I said that this felt like a 5-star feeling, and it genuinely did, and I'm still kind of going back and forth on it. I just think there's a few like really tiny things about the book that are too big of a spoiler for me to say in this vlog of why I feel like it can't be a 5 stars for me, but I don't know. Maybe if you guys want to have further discussions about it, you can message me and I will let you know, but I'm still going back and forth on it because I do think it could be a 5-star. I really do want to reread it. Like, it is a book where immediately when I finished it, I was like, I can reread this. So that's why I'm kind of going back and forth, because I'm like, if it is so easy for me to say that I can reread this book, oh, I don't know. It's such a gripping and heartbreaking yet like hopeful romance novel about, I don't know how much, I genuinely do not even remember what I filmed leading up to reading this book, but you're following Noah and AJ throughout about 15 years of their lives together. They're in and out of each other's lives. They are brought together just by this connection that they have and this passion that they have for not only each other, but also for acting and for comedy and for creating art together. And there is just something in one of their lives that is such a black cloud that is keeping them apart, and it is honestly, that's like just the heartbreaking like push and pull of their relationship together. And like I said, you're following them throughout 15 years of both of their lives together and separate, and it is honestly just such a good story. Like I said, it's gripping. I did not want to put it down. Even though I was sick, I was still trying to read it. Like when I was ill on the couch and my head was in so much pain, but I was like, I need to know how this finishes. Like it was such a page turner, and it was so character driven, and there's like nothing that I really want to dive into, because I feel like it's just one of those books that you just have to go into almost knowing as little as possible, and I fell in love with it. I think that their journey, I could have gotten like, it's pretty long for a romance novel. It's like 430 pages. I could have honestly had so many more pages of their story together. It was such a page turner for me, and I could have gotten so much of them together and even separate. I thought that their characters were really fleshed out pretty well separately. We only really get it from AJ's point of view, but it's written in the third person, so it's like you mostly follow just AJ, but then sometimes you get like Noah's little perspectives. Regardless, I could have had any and all angles of this story told to me and more, and I just fell in love with it. It was such an intriguing and interesting kind of romance, and I thought again that the ending was so bittersweet and more hopeful, but also heartbreaking. Like it just was everything. I felt so many different emotions while reading this. It's also funny. There is a lot of humor in it, and it's so raw, and there's so many like different relationships that they're also like kind of navigating and delving into with each other I don't know, they're just making it through life together, and I think that their connection was so cool to read about. I just loved it. It was such a different type of romance that I haven't read in a while, and I really enjoyed it. So it is for now a 4.5 stars for me, and I'm so happy that I went and broke my book buy-in ban to go pick it up and read it. I went into it a little skeptical because I think that sometimes books that are really overhyped, like Into the Blue is being right now, sometimes they can be a disappointment to me, but I was not disappointed by this, and it was definitely something that was very much up my alley. So I'm so happy about it, and I'm so happy that the internet influenced me to go and get it, because I think I was starting to fall into that slump that I was talking about earlier with just being really discouraged and unmotivated with the books that were on my physical TBR, and so I think this is helping me kind of regain that motivation of reading. Okay,
But those were my thoughts on Into the Blue by Emma Brody. I will definitely return to in the future. I really do see myself rereading this and I'm really excited to. I'm gonna like tab it next time and like make sure to underline like my favorite quotes because there are a lot of really, really good quotes throughout this book too. But those are my thoughts on Into the Blue by Emma Brody. Yay, I'm so excited and I'm so happy that I read this. But I'm starting to feel a little off again, so I think it's time for me to go take more medicine. So that is my sign to finally wrap up this long-winded video and say goodbye to you guys for now. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you've watched up until this point, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I hope to see you guys again next time. Thanks, bye.